The Vatican's secret archives, aka Archivum Secretum Apostolicum Vaticanum, are subject to wild conspiracy theories, and for a good reason. With a name like that, who wouldn't speculate? That's where you find out where the bodies are buried, right? Well, technically, the bodies are buried in the Vatican necropolis, but that doesn't make the Vatican's secret archive any less mysterious, with rumors of magical artifacts to the devil and his demons to aliens being locked up down there. People will always wonder what happens behind these closed doors, what treasures lie within the vaults of the Vatican. From the cross that Jesus Christ died on, to the Holy Grail, to the Ark of the Covenant, to Noah's Ark. Pretty much every single major Christian artifact has been rumored to be stored somewhere within the Vatican's secret archive. Some even claim behind the walls lie thousands of magical texts pertaining to existence of magic. The Chronoviser is a device that is rumored to have been created and owned by the Vatican. This device was theoretically built by the world's greatest scientists in the 1950s. The project was theoretically funded by the Vatican for unspecific reasons. The device is said to work like a pair of glasses and were worn up against the face to allow the user to view events from the past. It allegedly worked by processing electromagnetic radiation left over from past events and turning them into visual images and audio. Father Brune claimed to have witnessed historical events such as the crucifixion of Christ and a performance of the Lost Tragedy. Apparently, soon after it was created, it was dismantled, as the church hierarchy was concerned that it was too powerful for any one person or group to have. If it exists, any evidence of it would be safely tucked away in the Vatican's secret archives. The third secret of Fatima. In the small Portuguese city of Fatima, 3 young shepherd children supposedly had visions from the Virgin Mary. In the first secret, the children saw the fires of hell filled with hideous demons and the suffering souls of the damned. In the second vision, they saw that World War I would end soon, but the Second World War would start almost immediately afterwards if the Pope didn't consecrate Russia to the Immaculate Heart of Mary. The third secret, however, was kept a secret until the year 2000, where it was revealed to supposedly be about the persecution of Christians in the 20th century and the assassination attempt of Pope John Paul II. However, some people are convinced that the third secret made public was not the same as the one revealed to the children of Fatima. Whatever the case may be, if the secret revealed was a fabrication, it is possible that the real secret is hidden somewhere within the Vatican's archive. The Devil. Some people have speculated that the Satan himself is being held within the Vatican's secret archive. The Vatican's most senior exorcist, Father Gabriel Amorth, had conducted thousands of exorcisms before his untimely death. He had supposedly spoken to the devil himself at one point within his career. Amorth claimed that Satan himself was hiding somewhere within the Vatican. The scandals and corruption within the church in recent times are all attributed to the devil himself, according to Father Gabriel Amorth. The Grand Grimoire. The Grand Grimoire is an alleged medieval book that is believed to possess the secrets of magic. It was written in the 16th century by Honorius of Thebes, who claimed to be possessed by the devil himself. In the book, it has instructions on how to make magic talismans and amulets, how to make magic spells, and even how to summon demons or the devil himself and make a deal with him. There have been many copies made after the original was published. However, only the Vatican has the original unaltered copy. According to some, it is to protect humanity from unimaginable carnage if the book fell into the wrong hands. Paintings of the real Jesus. Contrary to contemporary representation, Jesus was a Hebrew man who lived in the mountainous regions of northern Palestine. Therefore, he almost certainly would have looked more Middle Eastern than what is often portrayed. As a result, the real historical Jesus would have not looked like what is portrayed in popular culture, much of which is based on the face of the very handsome Caesar Borgia. However, some people believe that the Vatican has at least one contemporary depiction of Jesus' appearance. Whether it exists or why the Vatican would keep such earth-shattering information a mystery is unknown and disputed. Extraterrestrials. Skulls with elongated heads and small faces resembling aliens from the Alien franchise were found underneath the Vatican in 1998. Apparently, ever since the Vatican had kept all evidence of alien secrets. Some still believe that the Vatican has much more direct evidence of aliens, with a few even claiming that there are several live aliens tucked away inside the Vatican's secret archive to this day. And lastly, and perhaps the most disappointing but probable theory, is the idea that the Vatican's secret archive holds no earth-shattering secrets at all. Despite claims that the Pope has evidence of extraterrestrials and demons tucked away in his catacombs, the truth of the secret archives is much more realistic and less exciting. In Latin, known as Archivum Secretum Apostolicum Vaticanum, and the meaning of secretum is closer to the English word personal than the English word secret. Archivum, which means archive, and apostolicum means it's associated with an apostle, in this case, the Pope. So a more literal, dynamic translation might be the Pope's personal document stash. This distinguishes it from the Vatican's more general museums, libraries, and document repositories. It wasn't until 1881 that Pope Leo XIII allowed researchers to view some of the archive's contents. It was no simple matter for one to view the documents, and the procedure hasn't changed much over the last 200 years.
Well, it's funny, I've talked to a friend of mine, Professor Diana Walsh-Pasulka, who wrote a great book called American Cosmic, and she was one of the few academics who's been given privileged access to the secret Vatican archives. And the way she describes it, it's quite extraordinary getting access. See, there's a whole process you have to go through to become sufficiently credentialed to be able to gain access. And even then, obviously, it's, as you say, it's at the discretion of the people who run the archive what you get to see. There are, just to give you an idea of the scale, the archive runs underground under the Vatican, and Diana's written that there are 53 miles of shelving. That's how much they have in the Vatican archive.
Finally, in 2012, the Vatican decided to celebrate the archive's 400th anniversary by making 100 items available for public viewing for the first time at the Capitoline Museums in Rome. Of course, with 50 miles of shelving and documents dating back to the 8th century, 100 items only scratch the surface. But as of now, these items are all we know for sure of the secret archives. Here are some of the highlights. The Papal Bull from Pope Leo X excommunicating Martin Luther. The archive contains an original copy of Pope Leo X's Papal Bull Decet Romanum Pontificem, which followed through on a prior threat to excommunicate Martin Luther. In a poetic touch, Leo made the document accessible by nailing it to a cathedral door, a means of publication Luther might have appreciated. The Trial of the Templars. After enjoying centuries of wealth and privilege as an elite army during the Crusades, the Knights Templars' prestigious status came to be seen as a liability. In what was likely an effort to avoid his financial debt to the order, Philip IV of France had all the knights arrested on 1307 and charged with heresy. After years of torture, many admitted to the trumped-up charges and were eventually burned at the stake. Pope Clement disbanded the order under intense pressure from Philip. In 2007, the 60-meter-long document that comprises the minutes from the years-long trials was finally made public, revealing that the Pope had first intended to pardon the Knights Templar before he was coerced into condemning them. The Trial of Galileo. Although by the 1600s, scientists were starting to question whether the Earth was really the center of the universe, the Church maintained that it was and persecuted anyone who publicly said otherwise. Physicist and astronomer Galileo had already been reprimanded for his beliefs in 1616, but had successfully defended himself by claiming that he had simply discussed the idea of a heliocentric universe without necessarily believing it. The argument failed to hold up in 1633 when the investigation under Pope Urban VIII found Galileo vehemently suspected by his Holy Office of heresy, that is, of having believed and held the doctrine that the sun is the center of the world and that it does not move from east to west and the earth does move and is not the center of the world. These are of course just a few of the documents which are interesting, but nothing as interesting as the aliens. But for those who want to keep up their hopes of solving the Vatican's mystery, none of this proves that there aren't magic books, proof of UFOs hidden in the archives also. So, what do you think really lies in the vaults of the Vatican's secret archive? Comment down in the section below and don't forget to like and subscribe.